Well, good morning, everyone. Today is June 1st, and it's an exciting day here at Empower Employ for so many reasons. If we've never connected before, my name is Lindsay Helm. I am the founder and CEO of Empower Employ, and we use Empower Hour to connect the military community with job opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities, resources, and to really introduce the world to game changers in the space. So aside from my next guest, who I'm really excited to bring up today because she is such a big deal to the world and our military space and is given, I wanted to tell you all about something else that is super important and happening today because you guys are all messaging me about it. So today is my birthday. I want to thank you all so much for all of the messages that I've received so far. If I don't respond to each and every single one of you, I'll try to at the end of the day. But it's only 8 o'clock in the day, so the rest of the day. Now that we've highlighted that, we can move on. That's not what we're really here to talk about. Today we are here to introduce the world of you all. Probably already know her, but I am joined by a very special guest, Meg Hendricks, who is the head of military affairs at FISA. She's an Army veteran. She's married to an Army veteran, and after serving as a human resources officer in the Army, Meg had the opportunity to partner with organizations in the manufacturing, human capital, and financial technology space, which honors her expertise, the diversity, inclusion, equity, engagement, entrepreneurship, and military employment space. In her current role at Pfizer, she has helped develop the company to become one of the top 10, ranked top 10 military times best employers for veterans. I'm going to bring her up to the stage so she can finish sharing her story. Welcome my guest today, Meg Hendricks. Hey, Meg, how's it going?
Hey, Lindsay. Well, happy birthday. I didn't know that. It's also the first day of Pride Month, so happy Pride, everyone. So, yeah, an exciting day.
Yeah, I would give my her to be like, hey, I'm so sorry I haven't messaged you guys. I woke up to, I have personal stuff, but then LinkedIn is kind of like crazy right now with messages. And I was like, okay, well, if you're watching right now, there's an opportunity to say thank you if I don't. But yes, it is Pride Month. It is a great month. And I'm really excited about it. So let's kick it right off with finishing talking about, your story and who you are and what you're doing. I've got this really amazing bio, which is great, but if you wanted to share something about yourself with our audience, what would that be?
I think it's always fun that I let people know that I grew up in New Mexico because a lot of people that I meet say that they haven't ever met anyone from New Mexico. So after I grew up in a small town in northeastern New Mexico, I, did ROTC in college, commissioned out of the military or out of college into the military, human resources officer, like you said. And then I think one of the things I talk to people a lot about when we're talking about employment, I think today we're going to focus a little bit more on entrepreneurship, but we also talk about employment a lot, is that, people often say, figure out which industry you want to work in. And I'm a little bit, I go against the grain a little bit in that and saying, my first job out of the military in the civilian world was in a manufacturing company. And I would have never picked that industry if that was that's just not something that I would have picked. And I would say that, especially for large companies, no matter what industry it is, they have jobs in a lot of different areas. Same for Pfizer. We're financial technology, but we have jobs that run the gamut. So, I wouldn't count yourself out of any specific industries unless specifically the type of jobs that you want to do fit into a specific industry. But if you're doing something like project management or human resources or supply chain, different things like that can be applicable to many different industries. So just kind of quick little tangent there. But yeah, so I started working at what was First Data in 2015 with Vivian Greentree on the military team. Then we stood up the corporate citizenship department. I spent a little bit of time at ADP in their military recruitment program. And then I had the opportunity to come back and head up military and veteran affairs at Pfizer. Right before COVID hit, I actually went to VetEdge, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and then came back to work for about 2 days and then worked from home for 18 months. And now we're all coming back, into the office. But I really love what I get to do. I get to support the military community as part of my day job through employment, entrepreneurship, and then engagement of our associates. So that's a little bit of what I do.
Yeah, and you're super humble about it, because I've seen her in action, like at Military Influencer last year. She was everywhere doing all of the things involving entrepreneurship and being supportive. So yeah, I was like, you downplayed how amazing you are, but thank you for all of your contributions to the community to date. Can we talk about a little bit, you touched on it, but the initiatives or programs aimed at supporting military spouses and veteran entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So, our biggest partner in entrepreneurship is the Institute for Veterans and Military Families. We also partner with like Bunker Labs and Rosie's Network, Dog Tag Inc., Navoba, different groups like that. And so, one of the big programs that folks, if you already have an established business and you're in the growth phase of your business, you should definitely consider attending Vet Edge, which is the Veteran Edge conference that happens usually every year. COVID messed it up, like it messed up a lot of things, the timing, but it usually will happen every year in March, and most likely always in Dallas. And so that's something that you can apply to and attend. But one of the programs and events that I'm super proud of is that we started in 2022 is what we're calling our military entrepreneurship forums. And we very specifically are calling them military entrepreneurship forums because we want to make sure that we have both veterans and military spouses represented at them, both as invitees and part of the program. And so what we do for these events is the first half day, we don't really actually invite the business owners yet. The first half day is bringing together key stakeholders in a specific location. Coming up, we have one happening in DC in June, and I will make sure I'll share that link with you, Lindsay, from my work computer so that you can share with the network of Empower Hour. But, so the first day we get the key stakeholders in that location, in that region together. And the coolest thing is, often, even though they're working on similar things, they might not be aware of each other. And so a lot of that is really connecting, talking about the challenges, both at the national level and then the local level for entrepreneurs, and then more specifically for military affiliated entrepreneurs. And then the next day is much more similar to a standard like conference, where we have, potentially we have a keynote speaker, but we have panels, we have breakout sessions. There's a lot of focus on networking. The one in DC, each of them have a theme, and the one in DC will be themed retail. And we're going to have a pop-up at the end of the day and things like that. So, definitely if someone's listening who's an entrepreneur in the DC area and are interested in participating in that, they can always reach out to me at fiserv.salutes@fiserv.com, and we can talk about that a little bit more. But June 22nd in DC, you can definitely look it up. And like I said, I'll share the link for the sign up. But I'm really proud of that. And then the other programs that we do with IVMF, because really it is focused on getting people connected, the business owners connected with others who can help to collaborate and make your business even bigger. I mean, I love those stories of people who've met at different events and then they collaborate and their businesses go from, whatever they were by themselves to being this, amazing, huge thing when they collaborate together. So I think we all know, I think military spouses are actually better at asking for help, actually. I could be wrong. You could tell me I'm wrong, but than veterans tend to be, just because I see one of the things that I think that is really cool that I see a lot of military spouses doing that I know, so anecdotally, is that they have a real ability to go wherever they end up, whenever they're moved, they can kind of get ingrained into the community pretty quickly and are willing to ask for help, whether it's like, hey, I'm having to move myself all by myself, like I need help, or, different things like that. So I definitely something that is a skill, and that if that is you and you're good at that, or you need to work on that, that's definitely something I would say is a skill that is desirable for those who are in the military spouse community.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm both a spouse and a vet, and I launched my business in New York right after COVID, and then we PCS to Hawaii. So that, you're talking about some of the challenges, and now we're going to leave Hawaii in uh next year, I think. I don't know, officially, unofficially, I think it's next year. And we're going to the DC area and we'll be right there. I'm just like, how many times are we going to uproot this business and change the address and deal with taxes, which is kind of a nice one. So pause. The conference sounds amazing. I wish I lived closer because I would just come hang out and absorb all the awesomeness regardless of retail. But you kind of touched on a little bit in your response about the struggles or the challenges that come with owning a business, either as a military spouse or a veteran. What do you think some of those are, on a national level? I mean, we covered some of mine, like I'm changing taxes and I'm having to look at this all the time, but what is something that you feel is kind of an obvious thing that people don't necessarily know?
So challenges, well, definitely for military spouses, it would be location and if you are moving and how that could impact your business, 100%. Um, and I think, with the research, because IBM does a lot of research too, if anyone's interested, you can look up their research library, but they found that veterans specifically do a lot of their spending on like credit cards and things like that. They don't like to ask for financial support from friends and family very much. And then also if they go to ask for, or if they go to apply for a grant or a loan and they're denied, they're really unlikely to apply for it again. And so, in the space, a lot of what we talk about now, rather than, access to capital, is being capital ready. And so a lot of that has to do with really preparing yourself, having all the documents you need, having your business plan so that when you go to apply for that grant, when you go to apply for that loan, you are presenting, the best that you possibly can. And I would say, I think another challenge is that there just are so many resources, and it's wonderful that there are so many resources, but it can be really hard to navigate. And so I would say just find some that work for you. If the first thing that you try doesn't work, don't get discouraged. Try. I'll name a few. Just go to the Small Business Administration, go to IVMF, go to Dog Tag, go to SCORE. It doesn't have to be military entrepreneurship programs that you're going to, but get help with like doing your business plan, get help with applying to different things. And if you're paying for that help, please make sure that you've exhausted the free or minimum cost resources before you go to pay for that help, because there is a lot of assistance out there, especially for veterans and military spouses. So please, please don't pay for it outright unless you've tried the free resources and you decide that that isn't working for you.
Yeah, and so I agree. I know that I've been really lucky now that we've been able to pay for resources, but we started with our free resources at Bunker, which led me to become Bunker Labs ambassador, being involved in the community, which unlocked a lot of other doors. So I do encourage, like Meg said, to go out and do that. And we should probably, we listed some of those resources, and that is quite a lengthy list and some really good programs out there. But is there a specific place where you feel like entrepreneurs can go to get mentorship on that you like to hang out at and provide kind of those services to, either with your current company or with IBMF?
I would say if you're looking for local resources, I would look to SCORE and like SBA and, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. The VBOC, VBOC. It's the Veteran Business Outreach Centers. I would look for those to go locally. And then, you named a few, like definitely apply for the Bunker Labs programs, apply to go to the different IVMF conferences and things like that, because you certainly get like a lot of information and resources when you go to those. But I think, Lindsay, you'll probably agree with me that the most important piece of that is really connecting with other people, because what I've seen is that if you are approaching, being a business owner in a vacuum by yourself, it's going to be much harder, and it'll be, get so much more information and help and support if you connect with other business owners. I mean, they don't have to be military affiliated, but what I will tell you is that anyone who, is a veteran or military spouse, we just know that you connect with people who are in the military or who are in the military. There's just a connection that's there, and you don't really have to try to make it. And it kind of, you start, I guess, one step ahead with that connection that's there. And I feel like we are very willing to help out the other people in the military community. We're very willing to help out if we're able. I always tell people, I always invite people to connect with me on LinkedIn and, let me know if I can help them. The one caveat that I would say to that is, if you reach out to me on LinkedIn and just put like hi or something like that, I'm probably not going to respond to that. If you, just want to set up a meeting, but you don't really tell me why or like how I can help you, I just don't have enough time in the day for that. So I would say if you're asking for help and you're reaching out to people, be very specific about what it is that you need and what you think it is that they can provide. Even if it's, hey, can you connect me with other people? That's one of my favorite things to do, is connect people, with the resources or other people that can help them.
Yeah, and entrepreneurship can be very lonely. And one of the reasons our company done so well is because of the networking opportunities and willingness to ask for help and having a specific ask. That was something that was drilled into me by our mentors basically on day one. Like, if you're coming to me, come to me. And I tell people that too, for my calendar is on LinkedIn. So if you're coming to me and you're like, hey, I really want to talk about entrepreneurship, come to me with a specific ask. Like, hey, can you show me how to build a sales pipeline? Can you show me can you introduce me to a software developer? Can you get more guru? Yes, I will do all of those things, and I'm more than happy to do those. But if you're like, hey, Lindsay, I'm booking to put my calendar, and I look at my calendar and I'm like, I have this hour that I can hang out with, my family that time, or I can go, do a speaking engagement that I'll kind of help share a little bit about these resources, or I can do this random meeting that I have no idea what this is. Yes, please. And that's also true in like career ask, right? Like, just combining the two topics today. Like, if you send me a message, hey, can you help me get a job? Yeah, that's really broad. Yes, but I need you to come to me with like, hey, Lindsay, I'm looking for a project management role that pays between $80,000 and $100,000 a year, located in X. I've got these skills. The job position that I found is this link. I see that you're connected to Meg. Please do an introduction. Here's a copy of my resume that's already been customized to the role in which they're looking for. Please, 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 please. Yes, I will do that for you because you did all the work. Thank you so much for doing that.
100%. I agree with that 100%. When people come and they send resumes and they're like, where do you think I can fit in? And I'm like, oh my gosh, we have so many job openings and things. I need you to tell me where you want to go. That whole point of like, hey, I've actually looked up, these are some jobs that I think would work for me. Which one do you think is the best one? Like, I would have the best chance for, and then go that route rather than, hey, where do you think I would fit in?
It's not like, hey, where you want to be? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Where do you want to be? It's like coming to me and saying, tell me how to build without making it a rant. Tell me how to build my business. Okay, cool. But like, what is your goal? Like, we all know that, you have reasons for a why behind why you started your business. But if you come to me and you say, help me build this thing. Okay, cool. But like, is the goal you turn your first dollar in 30 days? Is the goal help 150 spouses find jobs? Is the goal build out your advisory board? Like, what's the goal? Instead of like just very, whatever. That's a whole other discussion. And I'm going to cover a lot of this at the USPTO fireside chat that's happening in Hawaii in a couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, thank you for highlighting that. So you've been with this for a while. I'm going to drop in the chat the hopefully this is the right link. It's the Diversity and Inclusion and Fiserv Salutes website. Let's talk about how to get in contact with you and what Fiserv Salutes really is before you leave us for the day.
Fiserv Salutes is our U.S.-based military program where we provide career opportunities, educational resources, and business solutions for the military community. So I oversee, everything within that realm. You know, and we don't have a ton of time to go into each of those things, but just suffice it to say, you know, we're focused on hiring from the military community. We want to support those folks once they are hired. We have a really great military leave policy. We have some different things like sponsorship programs and things like that. And then entrepreneurship is a huge thing for us as well. Clover is our point of sale system. You know, if you've ever seen that, and we're kind of revamping and relaunching some of our offers around Clover. So that'll be exciting. But, you know, I think the thing that I always like to leave people with just in general is, and people, if anyone's heard me on other things, I'm like, get on the lists, get on everyone's list, make sure that you are on the IVMF's list, make sure you're on Bunker Labs list. If you're an entrepreneur, even hiring our heroes, while they are not maybe, you know, entrepreneurship focused all the time, their primary focus is employment, get on those lists. Because for example, we sponsored the Military Spouse Employment Summit that was hosted by the U.S. Chamber Hiring Our Heroes earlier this month. And what we like to do, and this is something that my boss Vivian Greentree is really great at, is making sure that we kind of weave all of our different focuses together. And so while that event was focused on employment for military spouses, we also Fiserv provided the swag bags, and inside the swag bags were items that were from military spouse-owned businesses, plus dog tag. And so, you know, we supported those who were looking for employment, but also supported businesses. And how do we find those businesses? I mean, Hiring Our Heroes knew about them, but anytime we have like grants that are available or different things like that, the first place we go is we ask IVMF, we ask Dog Tag, we ask Rosie's Network, we ask SBA, you know, we ask our partners. And so I would say get on all the lists. That's my best advice.
We are on all the lists, and I get probably like 50 messages a day, and I usually check it. It'll be like, this pitch competition is here, or, you know, Warrior Rising has a training program and their last win is whatever. Veteran Shark Tank, you can pitch this year for $50,000 and it's free money. You know, you have to do like same. So yeah, definitely stay on the list. It helps stay everyone, keeps everyone connected. Like, I'm going to thank you for joining us today and all the work that you're doing in the community. Hopefully, hopefully I'll be traveling and I'll get to see you in person later in the year after we deal with, you know, everyone knows now the birth of the baby. So last time I saw you at MIC, I literally found out the day after I saw you that I was having a baby. So I pitched at Fiserv. The next morning, found out I was going to deliver in June. So here in a couple weeks, I'll be bringing the next, the Furious, so this next female founder into the world. When that is done, I will be back on the road, coming out to participate with all of you in some of the conferences. And I'm excited about seeing you in person. And hopefully you and I and Flossie can get together and hang out again. I know you guys are really good fun. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to broadcast for everyone. Any last word before you go? It sounds so boom and doom, but anything else you'd like to share?
No, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. Again, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you're interested in employment at Fiserv, you can always reach out to fiserv.salutes@fiserv.com. Or if you want to learn more about any of the entrepreneurship efforts that we do, feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And everybody watching, keep an eye out. It's going to be a couple of weeks before we're back on with Empower. But thank you all so much for your continued support. And we'll see you soon. Thanks.